Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is brought to you by our friends at Fangoria magazine. That's right, the first name in Fright since 1979 is now an affiliate of America's Hometown Horror. And because of that, we can now offer you an exclusive 20% discount on any first-time magazine subscription or merchandise purchase by heading over to shop.fangoria.com and using the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout. That's shop.fangoria.com/HometownHorrorPod, or just use the code HometownHorrorPod at checkout for that exclusive discount on anything from Fangoria. Tonight's episode of America's Hometown Horror is also brought to you by our friends at Horror Facts Magazine. Never heard of Horror Facts Magazine? Well, if you're a horror fan, they're a name that you absolutely should know. You can find them over at horrorfacts.com, and they're a great resource for all things horror, including news, reviews, editorials, and lots of other horror podcasts, not only limited to, but including America's Hometown Horror. So head on over to horrorfacts.com and check them out. Now, let's get on with the show. All right, hello, good evening, and welcome into another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks so much for checking back in with us. We certainly appreciate it. My name is Mike, and I'll be hosting you through this spooky journey this evening into quite a spectacular movie, which we will get to. First and foremost, let's get some housekeeping items out of the way. If you're interested in following us on social media and the interwebs, you can find us first and foremost at our website, which is at ahpod.com. You can go there for more about the show. And more importantly, our blog, which will be updated with, I would say, semi-frequency moving forward. You can also find us on pretty much every social media platform: YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, Instagram, Letterboxd. Just search for America's Hometown Horror. You'll find us. That's the best way to keep up with us. You can email us at hometownhorrorpodcast@gmail.com, and you can also leave us a voicemail, which would be super at, you can call us at 508-927-1267. That's 508-927-1267 to leave us a voicemail and have your voice heard right here on America's Hometown Horror. And of course, the most important thing you can do for our show is to, give us a like, give us a subscribe, and leave us a review, preferably a 5-star review. If you think we do a 5-star job, that would be fantastic for us. Last, but certainly not least, thank you, as always, to our buddy Shaun O'Loughlin from Skywheel Media, who's now handling all of our audio and music production. And if you have a podcast that you're looking to take to the next level in terms of audio production, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with Shaun O and Skywheel Media to take your audio production up the chimney and out into outer space, baby. I actually feel bad for Shaun O tonight because this is a fun movie that we're going to be talking about that he definitely has not seen yet, and he's probably going to have it spoiled for him just by necessity of having to listen to the episode and, fuck around with the audio quality and everything else that he does for us. And he does an awesome job. So anyway, without further ado, it is a boys' night tonight, just like it was. We went to the movie theater a couple of days ago to see this film. I'm joined by Matt and Andrew. Gentlemen, hello.
Oh, what's
everybody.
up, buddy? You're gonna stream some sword streams going on for the boys' night.
Sword streaming, lightsaber fights, little sausage fest up in here. Hot dogs, chocolate starfish, and the hot dog flavored water. Baby.
Yeah, baby.
That's a little Limp Biscuit for you. Just a little side note, by the way, our lovely other co-host, Catherine, did recently get a promotion at work. Congratulations to her. But that promotion has caused a little bit of an extra workload for her. So Kat will be without us for the next couple of weeks. And we are looking forward to having her join us back as soon as she is able to do so, because I feel like our show is definitely less without her bantering with Andrew and her throwing in her opinion on the movies and topics that we discuss. But actually, I don't know that she'd be able to contribute too much to this topic tonight because she did not see this movie as Matt, Andrew, and I did, as she was doing the very important job of watching our daughter when we went to go see this film. So, anywho, guys, you want to rifle through some news shit real quick before we jump dick first into tonight's topic?
Yes, sir.
All right. Some of this stuff is stupid, so I'm just going to run through it real quick. And if you don't care, just tell me and we'll move on. First and foremost, this has been out for a little while here, but it's definitely worth noting. If Kat were here, she'd probably have a comment on it, or maybe not, because I think Kat's about as out on the Scream franchise as we are. We've talked in weeks past about the drama going on with Scream 7, with essentially the entire cast doing a mass exodus or being fired from the movie. The director Christopher Landon left, and that movie is now going to be directed by Kevin Williamson, who wrote the original Scream, and Neve Campbell is going to be returning to play Sidney Prescott in Scream 7. I ask you guys, do you care?
No.
I don't give one fuck.
Yep.
So
Neither do I. So why don't we move on? But hey, at least Neve Campbell got paid to star in Scream 7. I hope she got a nice little payday.
well, she's got to make money doing something, because has she been in anything else ever?
No.
I remember she had a little small part in House of Cards. But you know, I don't think she acts a lot very much anymore. I think she's very
She's probably
selective about what
producer.
she takes. Yeah, she might do a lot of that. I'd have to look at her IMDb filmography to see exactly what she's been up to these days. But good for Neve Campbell. So,
For you.
guys, a couple of updates on movies that have begun production. Matt, here's one for you. The latest offering from A24 and Ari Aster. Movie is called Eddington. Has now begun production. I ask you, and I know you care about this probably very much.
Yeah, this isn't that one that he's producing that's like the Bigfoot movie, is it?
I don't think so.
This is like a
All I
romantic
have.
comedy or something.
So basically, what I have here in front of me, it says that basically A24 is describing this movie as Ari Aster's contemporary Western. And the cast includes Joaquin Phoenix, Pedro Pascal, Emma Stone, Luke Grimes, Austin Butler, Deirdre O'Connell, Michael Ward, and Clifton Collins Jr. That's a pretty loaded cast.
Wow.
It does
Yes,
sound
no,
like
I forgot about this one. This
big cast,
this is
right?
interesting for sure.
Yeah. No plot summary as of yet, but I think pretty much, you know, as we talked about when we talked about our top 10 movies of 2023, and Beau is Afraid was on that list. Ari Aster is definitely one of those directors where pretty much everything he puts out, you kind of have to see at this point.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't sound like this one's a straightforward horror movie, but I would say that there's probably going to be some Ari Aster-ness in this that's probably going to make it weird and funky
I'm sure
and
it's gonna be
interesting.
weird. Plus, I
so,
love a good
yeah.
Western. So
I'm a big Western guy too, so give me more Westerns. So Eddington, the latest offering from Ari Aster, now underway. In addition to that, a movie that is very much horror. Production has begun on Leigh Whannell's Wolf Man movie that's going to be released Halloween of this year. This is the Universal Monsters Wolfman remake that was originally supposed to be starring Ryan Gosling, who he left the project as an actor, but has stayed on as an executive producer. Christopher Abbott, I guess, who was in Poor Things. I know him from The Sinner. He was in season 1. He was Jessica Biel's husband. If you guys have watched that show, he is starring as the titular Wolfman.
I do not know who that is.
All right, if he's one of those guys like. If you Googled him and you saw him, you'd be like, "Oh yeah, it's that guy." Okay, I've seen him somewhere before.
He's very titular.
Yeah, titular, very titular, and he kind of looks like Jon Snow, Kit Harington, the guy that played Jon Snow in Thrones.
Another show I haven't watched.
Yeah, well, you watched it for a little bit and you gave up. So, I for one am very interested in this movie. And The Wolfman stars Christopher Abbott, as I mentioned, as a man whose family is being terrorized by a lethal predator. And Leigh Whannell, by the way, directed the fantastic Invisible Man remake that came out a couple years ago. So I think that this is in very good hands, and I'm excited. So
yeah, I mean, I like the last Wolfman that was out, the one with Anthony Hopkins and
Del Toro. That was
Del Toro.
that
was underrated.
Yeah, that's one of
that movie got shit on for no reason. I don't understand.
Yeah, I don't really get it. This is, of course, coming from Jason Blum and Blumhouse, but so did The Invisible Man. So sometimes they do shit out a gold nugget, and hopefully they do here.
What is it? A broken clock is right twice
a day. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
that's correct. Even a blind squirrel finds a nut every once in a while. So hopefully this one's going to be catered a little bit more towards adults. Guys, also, South by Southwest has passed us by, the South by Southwest Festival in Austin, Texas, which usually has lots of good genre film premieres. And when that festival kicked off, people have seen, and there are reviews out there for Immaculate, Cuckoo, and Alex Garland's Civil War. All three of those movies getting pretty positive reviews to kick everything off. I think Civil War is getting the most widely positive reviews, I should say. So Immaculate, Cuckoo, Civil War, all premiered at South by Southwest, so people have seen them. Immaculate, not getting the greatest of reviews, but hey, Sydney Sweeney, how are you? Definitely.
Speaking of Immaculate,
I want to see that.
Speaking of Immaculate, oof, yeah. Cuckoo. Can't wait to see that one.
I haven't seen heard much about Cuckoo.
I've wanted to stay in the dark in that one on Porpoise.
Same thing with Long Legs or whatever it is, Long Shanks.
Long Legs.
Yeah.
Long Legs.
If I didn't hear anything about Long Legs other than what I've already heard and seen with those little 15-second teasers they've done, I'm in. I'm all
also, I heard
Yeah.
Nick Cage is retiring. Is that true?
I mean,
see that? Is that real?
maybe
Like
he is.
He's not going to be in 8 movies a year. Like, what's going on?
I don't know. He's actually got another movie coming out this year too, a monster movie apparently. I forget what it's called,
Yes.
but I think that was also at South by Southwest and premiere as well. So I think it was okay. But yeah, I think we're excited for all 3 of those movies. So we'll see them whenever they come out and report back.
I like
Speaking of
Neon.
reviews, yeah, Neon's kind of got a great slate coming up this year, I should say. Speaking of reviews, as of this recording, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire is out right now. You can see it in theaters along with the movie we'll be talking about shortly here. And it's getting raked over the coals by critics. Apparently, the Ghostbusters nostalgia train is running on empty.
I had a feeling this was going to happen because I feel like even the other one was like fine, but it was just like they were playing to like the fanboys and shit like that. Like, it's not really make a new movie,
of which I am one. Apparently, I was kind of hopeful for this one because it did bringing it back to New York City. It looks kind of cool. They mentioned specifically that they were going to be inspired by the real Ghostbusters cartoon from the 90s and the 80s. That actually was, I think, what attracted me to Ghostbusters first, even before the films. I love that cartoon. But yeah, I mean, I'm not totally surprised that this is. I mean, I'm still going to see it. Don't get me wrong.
It's a money grab.
Yeah, I mean, I probably won't make it to theaters to see it, but I'll certainly be coming. I'll certainly.
I didn't even realize it was in theaters.
Oh yeah. Oh, are you kidding me?
But it's coming out now. That just goes to show that it's not really.
Well, apparently the new AMC thing, the Dune Worm popcorn bucket is now being replaced by a Ghostbusters Ghost Trap popcorn.
I'm so upset that I didn't get that popcorn bucket. They didn't even have them anywhere.
I know you were super pumped about that.
It's just a popcorn bucket.
Andrew was convinced that he was going to get one of these and hold on to it. And
yeah, I wasn't even going to fuck it. I was just going to hold on to
sell it later
and sell it at some point to someone that wanted to fuck it.
The Ghostbusters one is just shaped like Slimer, but it has a fuckable asshole.
Squirts out Ecto Cooler all over the place.
Squirts out butter.
Oh God. So yeah, that's Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, and you can see that now in theaters if you so choose. And if you have, hey, let us know. Hopefully hopefully you like it. What else?
Let
can
us know about the popcorn bucket.
Yeah. At some point, they're just going to start selling popcorn buckets that are literally just flashlights. They're going to be like, cool. So we can just fuck this now. Is this what we're doing?
That's what we're headed towards. Certainly seems.
I mean,
like.
I'm fine with that. That's okay. If I'm going to eat popcorn, might as well,
God, Matt. Here's the next topic. What season did you say you bailed on Black Mirror? Because we're getting season 7.
I didn't really bail. I just kind of like sporadically watched it. I just remember having to I watched so much of it. Like, I didn't get into it until like the 3rd season came out. So I watched a lot of it at once, and I was like, okay, I need a break.
Yeah,
I like Black Mirror. I'm into it.
I do too. I love it, and it's definitely some heavy shit. So I can understand wanting to take a break from time to time. But I bring this up because Black Mirror season 7 is coming to Netflix in 2025, and apparently we're going to be getting a sequel to the USS Callister episode. Ooh. That was the Star Trek parody that had Jesse Plemons and Jimmy Simpson, better known as Liam McPoyle from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, amongst other people. And basically season 7 of Black Mirror coming to Netflix in 2025, which I love that show. Anytime they want to come out with more of it, I'll watch it. So.
Now, isn't this new season going to be more geared towards horror?
So
I thought.
So the most recent season was definitely like that, and they actually had some stuff in there that they relabeled at the beginning of the episode as Red Mirror. Those were definitely the ones that were more horror focused.
I'm kind of okay. I'm kind of out on that. Like everything, just be what you were. Don't overboard it with being too horror related, like the way it was earlier. I think that's it's sometimes things aren't supposed to be horror. Just leave them.
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the episodes definitely skirt the line of horror enough.
And those are great. They're not overtly horror.
I don't need it to be full bore 100%
because I finally finished the latest season.
Yeah,
and the last 2 episodes I thought were just.
Oh, the last one I didn't really like. That was the one with the demon. That was
way too much.
But Lock Henry, that was one of the ones that was awesome.
And the one
is that the one with the?
I like that one a lot.
Lock Henry was the one with the 2 kids trying to solve that murder mystery, right?
Correct.
It's like a
Yeah,
documentary.
that was fucking. That was wild.
That one was
Yeah,
awesome.
that one was great.
Yeah, the Josh Hartnett and Aaron Paul one was really good. And it had
Yeah,
one
that
of the
was awesome.
Maras, either Rooney or
That was Kate.
Kate Mara. Yeah, one of the Maras, one of the daughters of the owners of the New York Giants. But yeah, Black Mirror coming back, which is always good to hear. I'm always down for more TV. So give me some Black Mirror season 7 in 2025. I am in. Next topic. Oh boy. See, this is what happens when you live in the Marvel Cinematic Universe world, is that everyone is always going to be trying to find the next cinematic universe.
Poohniverse, the Poohniverse.
And I will say the word on this podcast because it's been brought into the popular culture news cycle recently. The Poohniverse, not poo poo. The Pooh, as in Winnie the Pooh-niverse, as the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey team is bringing together a twisted child. I can't even say this without laughing. A twisted childhood universe mashup horror movie, and so obviously Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey 2 is coming up. Actually, I think that's in theaters this weekend too, as of this recording, which is crazy.
I didn't know that.
I know that's a real shame. I'm not going to be able to make that one in theaters. Cat's favorite movie of 2020.
It's crazy. I can't spend $16 on that.
So basically, the people that are creating the Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey movies are putting together what they're calling the quote-unquote twisted childhood universe, which is featuring previously announced standalone films, Bambi the Reckoning, Peter Pan's Neverland Nightmare, and Pinocchio Unstrung. So we're going to have Bambi, Peter Pan, and Pinocchio.
I feel like Pinocchio's horror enough as it is.
It kind of is.
Like, I don't think they need to do that.
And then they're also going to introduce in this mashup movie, apparently, horror versions of Sleeping Beauty, the Mad Hatter, and Rabbit from Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. So I ask you guys.
No.
Yeah, interested? Yay, nay, no?
I mean, I don't know. I'm gonna have to wait and see how these are. I feel like the Peter Pan one is just gonna be like undiscovered security cam footage of like Michael Jackson's house.
So, as someone that initially liked the first Blood and Honey,
yeah,
I liked it for what it was. It was different. It was stupid. It was just a joke, and I thought it was entertaining. And there were certain parts of it that I liked. I have no interest in this because number one, I don't put any trust in that guy, that Rice Wake, whatever his stupid name is, the director.
Oh, Reese, what's his name?
Yeah,
Reese Frake Waterfeld.
I have no faith in that guy putting out a movie that's worth anything. This is just a money grab for him.
Of course,
100%. He's just first to the stable or whatever, however you want to phrase that.
It's the same thing that's happening with the Steamboat Willie horror movies that are going to be coming out later this year, because Steamboat Willie has also crossed over into public domain as well.
Oh, Jesus fucking.
So the first Disney cartoon. So
I got a Steamboat Willie movie for you. So. Yeah, I have no interest in that. I'll watch them just for the hell of it, but I have no faith that they're not going to just be CGI laden, like poor CGI.
The only thing I'd say to
plot,
that,
maybe some cool deaths, but that's about it.
Yeah, maybe. There's artwork out for it, and some of the characters look kind of cool. I don't think they're going to have the budget to do big time CGI stuff, so hopefully it's all practical. Who knows? Maybe
but cool. the other Blood and Honey was CGI, and that was terrible.
Yeah, maybe you're
right. It would have been better with practical.
Yeah,
as certain movies will show. Yeah, we'll talk about later.
So Andrew is out on the Poohniverse. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, no, I'm out. I will say though, if these are the necessary stepping stones for these writers and directors to kind of like build some profit and money to really make a good movie like later, then okay, that's cool.
Yeah, agreed. You got to start somewhere, and it is, apparently a creative idea. So let's see what happens. You never know. All right, let's get to the meat on the bones before we get into tonight's movie here. So we've gotten a first look at two big movies for this year, one of which I'm way more interested in. The first one is Beetlejuice. We've gotten looks at Michael Keaton, Catherine O'Hara, Jenna Ortega, Winona Ryder, and Justin Theroux in still photos. And as of this recording, which is today, they dropped a teaser trailer for the movie, which apparently is going to be showing before Ghostbusters Frozen Empire, which I did see. It's about a minute long. And it looks like every other legacy sequel that's come out in years past. Nostalgic. It's, basically introducing it. I feel like it's going to be pretty much a reboot of the first movie with new characters. So I know a lot of people like Beetlejuice. I like it to a certain extent. It's not one of my all-time favorites, but I feel like Michael Keaton is very selective in what he does for roles now. So I can't think that this is going to be an absolute train wreck, but you never know. Guys, are we in on Beetlejuice or nah?
I won't see it in theaters. I'll see it when it's like I can watch it from home. I mean, I like Beetlejuice and stuff, but it's like I'm not gonna go ape shit over it.
Yeah. Andrew?
I mean, yeah, I'm not like a huge Beetlejuice fucking nut, but I'll watch it not in theaters strictly because of the fact that I don't think there's anything that Michael Keaton's made that I didn't like.
Yeah.
So I'll give
Yeah.
him that benefit of the doubt.
Yeah,
Like,
he's
Michael
solid.
Keaton, he's a pretty you know what you're seeing when you see a Michael Keaton movie. It's gonna be
Even
something.
Jack Frost.
Jack Frost.
Specifically, Jack Frost
Yep.
is my all-time favorite
Yak
Michael
Frost.
Keaton movie.
All right, so the boys, we're all semi-in on Beetlejuice. All right, here it is. Had to end with this. I know that we are all in on this big time, and that would be Alien Romulus, which is the latest Alien film we are getting from Fede Alvarez, the director of the Evil Dead remake, along with classics such as Don't Breathe. We finally got a poster. The title has officially been revealed, and it is Alien Romulus, even though people knew that for a while. And we got another minute-long teaser trailer. And this brought me from 6 to midnight in about 5.5 seconds. I was so fucking excited. And this probably was already atop my most anticipated list for this year. And I am now all the way the fuck in. I can't wait to see this. Did you guys see the trailer for this yet? I know I said
I didn't watch it.
Yes,
I kind of
did watch
wanted to. This is one I was like, I think I can hold off and just wait for the movie.
Fair. Okay.
Yeah, it didn't really tell you much. It was a very basic trailer.
It's basically what I would say the trailer. It's very quick. You see some of the characters, the actors, I should say, and you see that they are on a ship, very much like the first Alien movie. It's very much the vibes of Alien and not Aliens. You're going to look at some face huggers, I would say multiple face huggers. And then at the very end, you're going to look at the, again, titular xenomorph alien.
Is that your favorite word?
I like using that word.
Because it says
The
tit.
xenomorph has big
Titular.
tits.
Titular. It makes me seem wicked smart, and
Speaking
it has
of Sydney
tit.
Sweeney, titular.
titular. And I guess Fede Alvarez has come out and said that the story is going to take place 20 years after Alien, and it is not going to ignore any of the other Alien movies. So I don't know if that includes Prometheus and Covenant, or if they're just talking about the original quadrilogy, so Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and Alien Resurrection.
Well, didn't the other ones take place before Alien?
Actually, you know what? You're right. So maybe
so those wouldn't be included.
I don't know.
Because it's 20 years after the original, correct?
20 years after the original Alien.
So
Ridley Scott's
Prometheus wouldn't take place in that same universe. Because that was before, right? Wasn't that before?
Yeah, so Prometheus and Covenant were both before.
So they don't count. They're not involved.
I think. I don't even, the timeline's
I'm pretty sure they're before, yeah, because that's when they first, right? No?
Well, Prometheus is definitely a prequel to Alien.
Yes.
No doubt about it.
Prometheus and Covenant are both before the original Alien.
Okay.
Yeah, so they're out.
All right.
They're not involved.
Maybe.
There's no...
Well, I know the TV series that's coming out is going to ignore Prometheus and Covenant, which I think is dumb.
Yeah, they need to stop ignoring quality movies. Like, get over yourself.
All right. That's what I got for news, you guys. So we're ready to move on to tonight's topic. All right. Before we do so, why don't we take a little break here and pay some bills? We'll be back in about 90 seconds. All right. And we're back. Thanks for sticking through us with our commercial break. All right. So let's get into Late Night with the Devil, boys. This is a movie that I'm very excited to talk about. So why don't we up front here, before we get into spoilers, let's stay spoiler free, talk as long about this movie as we can, so that if people haven't had a chance to see this in theaters, we're not spoiling it for them, obviously. And I know this is going to be coming to Shudder later on. We'll get to that. But guys, we did have the opportunity to see an advanced screening of Late Night with the Devil in the far away city of Boston, in the Seaport, at the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema. And I'm safe to say we all had a very good time, right?
What an experience.
Definitely.
That place fucking rocked.
Yeah. I think
awesome.
we should probably kick off and just, kind of what did you guys think of the Alamo Drafthouse Cinema experience? Because I personally loved it. Matt, what about you?
Yeah, no, it was really cool. I thought it was way more than I was anticipating. I wasn't really sure. I'd never really heard of an Alamo Drafthouse, which obviously they're a big thing all around the country. But yeah, no, this was like legit. Like the whole restaurant bar thing was cool, but just the service and like the decorating and it's very much, it loves cinema, and I think
Yeah.
it's very cool.
Yeah. Andrew?
It was fantastic. I mean, the theater itself was amazing. The seats are very comfortable, plenty of room. You didn't feel like you were jammed on top of each other. The actual screen, the sound was great.
Yeah.
The fact that you could just press a button and someone bring you a beer or churro popcorn, or you could literally eat a burger if you wanted to during the movie.
Yep.
The food was awesome too for like a movie theater, like great bar, and it was very reasonably priced. Like you're in the Seaport in Boston, and it was not as expensive as you would think it would be.
I know.
It was no more expensive than going to like a fuking Regal Cinemas and getting a fucking icy for $10.
I really appreciated that, and I know, and so basically, and I echo what all you guys are saying. It was an awesome experience, and as I've gotten older into my 30s, there are a few things that I like to do less than going into Boston for anything. It makes me absolutely fucking miserable, and I can't get far enough away from the city. It's a fucking pain in the ass to get to. It's a fucking pain in the ass to get home. But anyway, for this, I was happy to do so because we were just going to see a movie. But like, you know, you walk in, Alamo Draft Houses, I think there's only like 15 of them in the country, and there's one in Boston at the Seaport, and it's on like the third floor of this huge building. There's multiple restaurants in there. You come up the escalator, there's a huge Iron Giant statue in there, which is really cool. And like Matt mentioned, the whole place is just decked out with a ton of old school film posters, like, you know, all sorts of cool artwork, a lot of modern movie posters. This is definitely a theater going experience for movie fans of film. But with that being said, like we walked in, sat at one of the two bars in the lobby and had dinner. And Andrew was kind enough to buy dinner since I drove. And I think the three of us had like a couple. Well, you didn't drink because you were going to drive home.
I had like 17 Sprites.
Matt and I, you drinking Sprite. But the three of us had a meal.
3 gallons of Sprite.
I mean, Matt and I both got a burger, a Royale with cheese. Actually, Matt and I both got. Andrew got a chicken sandwich. Andrew was drinking Sprite. Matt and I got 2 beers each, and it was like what, like $100 for
it was
three
very
of us?
reasonable.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I was going to say, like, they just opened up in November.
Yeah.
And the staff was very well trained. Like, they were all on top of their game for something that's only been open for. And that's got to be a difficult kind of, like, you're waiting on people while they're watching a movie. So you're trying to bring stuff to them in the pitch black, like, find out what, like, I would have been tripping over people and dropping drinks on people's heads. Like,
I would throw up.
But I mean, like, first of all, if you like craft beer, I mean, they have about like 50 beers on draft. Like I was able to get my favorite beer in the world, which is Substance from Bissell Brothers in Portland, Maine.
And let's just say $8 for a draft of Substance is normal.
Incredible. It's really good. They didn't gouge your eyes out with the prices.
I would have figured $15 here in Boston.
But yeah, they're well known for their food and their bar program. Like I guess that they do a bunch of like themed cocktails and drinks, like for movies that are coming out. Like I know they're doing a bunch of Ghostbusters shit right now for Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. So anyway, I
regret not getting a milkshake and some cookies, though.
Yeah, the milkshake. I was eyeballing those milkshakes pretty hard, but I was drinking beer. Couldn't have switched to a milkshake at that point.
No.
Yeah, wouldn't have been great. So anyway, if you have the opportunity, you should absolutely go into the Seaport and check out the Alamo Draft House. Go see a movie there. Make a night of it. Take your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, your friend, whatever you want to do. Take someone there.
Your kitty cat.
Your kitty cat. Yes, Andrew, you could take your kitty cat up there. Take 7 with you. Go see a movie. Go see a film. Go to the Alamo Draft House. It was a lot of fun and something I would certainly do again. And we got, since this was an advanced screening a week early, we got the added benefit afterwards that we got a live stream Q&A because this was actually like done around the country at multiple Alamo Draft Houses at the same time. We get a live Q&A session with David Dastmalchian, who was the star of Late Night with the Devil afterwards. That was pretty cool. Just an added little bonus that you don't really get anywhere else. That was a lot of fun. But I mean, I feel like we've gone on long enough about the theater experience here. Let's talk about Late Night with the Devil, spoiler-free real quick. So if you have not heard of this movie, Late Night with the Devil technically was produced in 2023, but it's making its theatrical release and release on Shudder in 2024. It is a found footage horror film written, directed, and edited by Australian siblings Cameron and Colin Carnes, and executive produced by Joel Anderson, Rami Yassin, and David Dastmalchian. Presented in a found footage style, David Dastmalchian stars as Jack Delroy, the host of a fictional 1970s variety and late night talk show titled Night Owls with Jack Delroy. The film purports to be derived from a rediscovered master tape of an episode from the show's 6th season broadcast on Halloween 1977. During this live television broadcast, havoc unfolds when Delroy interviews a parapsychologist and the subject of her recent book, a young teenager who was the sole survivor of a satanic church's mass suicide. That is the official plot description. If you go on IMDb or Wikipedia, anything like that, not really a spoiler. You can gather that from the trailers. Currently in theaters, guys. Going to be streaming on Shudder as of April 19th. This is going to be a Shudder exclusive, so you'll be able to see it. And I ask you guys, what did you think of this movie overall? Spoiler free up front, obviously. Who would like to go first? Would you like Matt, me? Would you like me to go first? Andrew? Anyone? I'll go first.
Okay.
Matt, go.
This was a lot of fun. It was I knew it was going to be kind of like an over the top type of movie, which it for sure is, but it also kind of finds its feet, and it really keeps you in it. You give a shit about the people involved, the characters, but it does have that kind of like almost like I was saying to you when we were all walking out, was it reminded me of that episode of Creep Show, like that Bob Ross Evil Dead one with like Ted Raimi.
Yep.
Where it's just like you basically get like almost like an Evil Dead if it was to be on like live television. That's
Love
kind
that
of
episode.
which is kind of the vibe I kind of picked up just from the trailers and what I knew about the movie anyway. And it delivers for sure, and it's a lot of fun. Dastmalchian is incredible. He was so much better and just fun to watch than I thought he was going to be. Not that I think he's like a bad actor or anything, but it just I was curious to see how he was going to kind of play this role, and he's very genuine and believable, and you give a shit about him, you give a shit about what he's gone through, what he's going through. And then it just the way it plays out, it just like they really like it just comes in layers, and it just gets more and more and more as you go in. Each guest has its new like layer of what is going to happen, and it unfolds more and more. The whole setup is great. The way that you're watching, the way it's filmed, it like literally looks like you're watching something from the 70s on television. And then you get the little behind the scenes blips and stuff like that. This was a really awesome movie. For sure worth seeing in theaters if you can get to go and see it, because it's in your face, it's loud as hell, and it's a lot of fun. It's funny as fuck too. There's parts that had me cracking up.
I was thinking the same thing. I laughed a lot. I thought it was actually genuinely kind of scary, but it was also actually genuinely funny.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I would echo basically. I one of the things I had too. I just love seeing David Dastmalchian, who I mean I don't really think it's much of a stretch or a slight to call him pretty much a career character actor, taking on a lead role in this, and he fucking killed it. Like, I don't think this movie is anywhere near as good without him.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, albeit he's been in some great movies in small roles like The Dark Knight, Prisoners, Last Voyage of the Demeter, which I always forget about. That was an awesome movie that I loved last year. He was in Oppenheimer. He was in The Boogeyman. He played Albert DeSalvo in that Boston Strangler movie. He was in Blade Runner 2049. He's been in a ton of shit. And this is the first movie that I can really recall that is his first like leading role. And he is like pretty much, I don't mean to slight any of the other actors in this movie. He was really the only recognizable face to me in this entire movie. So it's pretty much him and a bunch of other small bit parts like character actors. Like, he is carrying this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Which I thought was awesome. So yeah, I also love this movie, and I want to add to some things as well. But Andrew, your thoughts on Late Night with the Devil?
So I don't know why it didn't dawn on me till like well after watching this movie that it was a found footage movie. For some reason, that didn't even enter into my brain, which I think is a testament to how good of a movie this actually was. That it never even occurred to me like what type of horror movie it was, what genre of horror movie it was. All I knew is that it was a very good, well done, well put together, unique, different horror movie that you haven't really ever seen done before.
Yeah, it's a unique idea.
Such a perfect idea, and it's executed to absolute perfection. like the off-screen stuff, like when they're in, like when it's black and white and they're cutting, like that part, those parts are done so well, and you get a really different vibe of like what's going on behind the scenes, and it just builds upon itself, like slowly, just this dread that's just building and building and building towards itself until it just erupts into this fucking fever dream. Like it almost felt like the end scene, it felt like a Twilight Zone type movie to me, like the very end of the movie going on, and I was like, what the fuck? And there was just so many different aspects and layers to it that just you don't see in most horror movies, which is why like these type of indie horror movies where they're low budget, just the practical effects were fucking incredible.
Phenomenal.
This movie, there were scenes in this movie that it was just like, and you knew it was practical effects, and you could tell, but it just adds it. It just makes it so much better than if it was CGI. If it was CGI, it would never have worked.
For sure,
it would never have felt the same way.
For sure,
it did.
And I wasn't able to find anything about what the budget was for this movie, but I guarantee you they didn't have the budget for a lot of CGI for this.
Oh,
and it's better off
Yeah.
for it, you know.
Like this is like David Dastmalchian's like coming out party. Like he's been a very like prolific character actor throughout his career. And I was trying to think of like another person that's just been a great character actor that finally got their dues.
He's like a Steve Buscemi.
Yeah, it's almost like and like a Gary Oldman type actor. Yeah. Like Gary Oldman's always a character actor, and I feel like he finally got like one. I'm trying to think of what like major roles he's ever gotten though, but like he's always been Gary Oldman's always been a character.
Well, he got Mank from
Mank.
Fincher.
Dracula.
He got Dracula.
Yep. But even still, like his best roles are like the professional.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Like that psychopath or Commissioner Gordon.
Dude, him in True Romance. He's awesome in that movie. Gary Oldman's awesome in so much stuff. Like he's awesome as Commissioner Gordon in the Batman movies. I think he played Winston Churchill at some point, and he got nominated for Best Actor for that. But like, so
The Darkest Hour, he was in that.
Yep. But yeah, no, I agree with you there.
Yeah, and it's like now I see like there's a. I really want to ask you a question real quick, Mike, because I know how much you like this movie, and I really like the movie.
Yeah.
Is there a universe where this movie does not finish in your top 5 horror movies of 2020?
No, absolutely
not.
There's
not a chance, not even a chance.
Right? It was actually refreshing for me because walking out of the theater, I feel like it's a rarity for me these days when I walk out and immediately I'm just thinking there's absolutely no way that this ends up not being probably one of my favorite horror films of the year, but probably one of my favorite films of the year. I thought it was that good. And a lot of stuff that I have hyped up in my mind over the last couple of years, I've walked out with a slight sense of disappointment, and this did not disappoint me at all.
No, like this movie exceeded my expectations.
Yeah, I was absolutely blown away. Like I was expecting a lot, and I got more. And I think for the reason, like, again, I am a found footage apologist, completionist. I will defend found footage horror until the day I die. I love it, and it doesn't feel like a found footage horror movie for most of it. And that, again, as Andrew said, that's a testament to how well done it is, because it is found footage.
Yeah,
it is found footage.
And it took me reading through it, and I was like,
definition.
Yeah, and then like it took like I read an article, I was like, found footage. I was like, oh, fucking right. Yeah, that was a like it just never even entered my mind because I didn't even want to like generalize it as to what it was.
Yeah. This is just, it's so far up my alley. It's really not even funny, but I mean, yeah, it's found footage. It's set on Halloween in 1977. It's shot to look like it's ripped from 70s late night TV, which is awesome. If you had thrown in some fake Halloween commercials in between, I would have done a backflip in the fucking theater.
I mean, if Ron Burgundy had shown up at some point,
oh my god, that would have been great.
Like, I get that.
And like Matt said, it's fucking funny. It's pretty scary. I mean, there wasn't any. It's not like a jump scare type of movie, but it builds dread. I actually think the behind the scenes black and white stuff where they're finding out in real time off the air some of the stuff that's going on in the background is actually scarier than what happens when it's on the air, personally.
Because you're finally realizing how big of an actual lunatic he actually is. Like he does all this weird shit in his life and none of this stuff is actually phasing him. He's more concerned with just the ratings. And then it's just like, this is his comeuppance. Yeah. And it's wild finish. Like the girl that plays the possessed girl.
Yeah.
She was
awesome.
She's creepy.
She was creepy.
I gotta find her name.
Staring. I was like, oh my god, I can't.
I don't want to slight her because I do want to find out what her name is.
Like
but
the slack jaw grin on her face, like half the entire part of the movie. It's just like, what is going on with this psycho?
And one thing I will say, for a movie like this, to be getting it's currently at, not that Rotten Tomatoes is the end all be all of anything, but it is currently at 100% on Rotten Tomatoes, which is fantastic. This is absolutely a movie that is worth seeing. I feel like we do it on this podcast a lot as we complain about remakes and sequels and legacy sequels and complain about the fact that we don't get enough original horror. And this is the type of movie that if you want that type of stuff like we do, you need to go see this movie in theaters. This is absolutely, this movie is made better by the theater going experience. Like, yes, I will still watch this on Shudder, probably the day that it comes out.
Same.
But this is made to be seen in theaters.
And let's just keep in mind too, like, if you are of the mindset that I am, that like possession type movies, it's overdone. This is not even on that. It's not, that's irrelevant. Don't even think that affects this movie. This movie is so much deeper and better than just a possession movie, because it's not.
Well,
it's not that. It's not.
And you know why? I think because it's looking at it from a different perspective. They're not bringing in multiple priests and doing like an exorcism on live TV. They're doing like a TV show where someone is possessed, and they're looking at it from an entertainment angle. How can we get entertainment out of this? And then it all backfires. It's awesome. It's
and the guy
so
that plays
good.
the skeptic, he's phenomenal. I forget who he is.
I have the cast up here. So we have all of these actors, I believe. So this was filmed in Australia. I think every single actor in the movie, aside from David Dastmalchian, is Australian. So Laura Gordon plays Dr. June Ross Mitchell, who is the parapsychologist and author of the book. Ian Bliss plays Carmichael the Conjurer. Ian, the former magician turned skeptic. I'm going to fuck this up, but Faisal Bazi as Christou, the psychic and magician. Ingrid Torelli plays Lily, the possessed girl. And then there's a few other people in. I wanted to know who played. Yeah, the oh god, what's
the
his
guy
name?
that like is like the like
his second in command. Yeah.
Isn't it like Stu?
Familiar.
He's Australian as well, I believe.
That's so weird. He didn't seem Australian.
So he's not on Wikipedia. Let me find him on.
He didn't look like no Crocodile Dundee.
So his name is Rhys O'Terry, and he plays Gus.
Gus.
Yes.
Gus. Okay, Stu.
Yeah.
Gus
so again, I mean, I guess to put a bow on the spoiler-free portion of this program, I can't speak highly enough of this movie. I haven't walked out of the theater more impressed than I can think of recently. Yeah, I loved this movie, and I think that everyone should fucking see it. If you're a horror fan, this is absolutely going to be a movie that you're going to see. You're going to want to see in 2024. And I think this movie is going to fucking kill it on Shudder, and I hope it kills it in theaters.
I think this movie deserves awards. It's not going to get any awards because these movies don't get awards.
It'll be a Chainsaw Award fucking crusher for sure.
Yeah.
There's something, but I think that it could, because like I think people are becoming more in line with movies that aren't like biggest budgets. Like I think Godzilla -1 maybe is going to start like this trend of like, it doesn't matter if it's a big, because like I think people are done with like the big Hollywood blockbuster bullshit.
Well, yeah, but that was Japan too.
True, and it was also a Godzilla movie.
Yeah.
So let's not get crazy.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that like people are going to start to appreciate. I think we're moving on into a different time where like people are actually appreciating cinema for its actual value and not just, oh, it's a fucking Marvel fucking stupid movie. Like I think we're past that.
I think people are
we're smarter than we think.
Marvel's kind of fallen from grace a little bit in the last couple
Marvel
of months.
sucks, and I don't want to talk.
Yeah, well, we don't have to. Matt,
I do want to
add?
Yeah, I'm curious because are we seeing the blueprint of an Australian horror renaissance right now?
It's a good question.
Talk to Me last year. We had this.
Right.
I didn't know this was a Australian-made movie, which I don't know, man. Speaks volumes. Are we going to start getting some bangers out of the Down Under? You know,
Down Under. God, I hope
Thunder
so.
from Down Under.
That's
a good accent.
I really hope our buddy Bob Smith from Down Under really enjoyed the movie as well.
Yeah, with that kangaroo kicking you in the fucking head.
Haven't spoken to Bob Smith from Down Under who asked us about a horror movie about a kangaroo kicking my fucking head in. Knowing his taste in horror, I think he might like this movie as well.
I believe that movie is Kangaroo Jack.
Kangaroo Jack. Yes, exactly. The kangaroo horror movie. To end all kangaroo horror movies. All right, I think that might be all we can say, spoiler-free, before we jump into some spoilers here, guys. All right, cool. So why don't we take a quick 90-second break? If you haven't seen Late Night with the Devil yet, pause here, come back to us and talk about and listen to us talk about Late Night with the Devil. We'll be back in 90 seconds with some more Late Night with the Devil stuff. Talk to you soon.
It's official. The critics' decision is in.
Spooky World is spectacular.
Enter the new black hole.
If you dare.
Or the new horror House of Wax. This year, don't miss the real Jason, Bobby Pickett, or Alice Cooper. Phone the 24-hour Spooky World hotline. 508-838-0200. That's 508-838-0200. Spooky World is just west of Boston and haunts every night from October 1st till November 1st. If you had the nerve, you'd phone 508-838-0200.
It's America's horror theme park. Spooky World. Sleepy Clovers.
Alive! It's alive! It's alive!
The new face of evil is going to scare you to death. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. It's killer this year. Then creep next door to the Abington Ale House. Barrett's Haunted Mansion. Eat, drink, and be scary. Go to bhmansion.com.
All right, we're back. Thanks for sticking with us through our sponsor and commercial break. And we're still talking Late Night with the Devil. Here with you on America's Hometown Horror. My name is Jack Delroy, and I'm joined here by Andrew and Matthew. Gentlemen, shall we talk about some spoilers about Late Night with the Devil here on America's Hometown Horror? What do we think?
Yes,
Sure
sir.
So I guess there are spoilers to be had here with the way the movie unfolds. But I feel like it's just such a assault on the senses as the way the movie progresses that it's just kind of like you kind of just have to see it. Like you can kind of talk about it. I feel like there's not a ton.
I don't really
to
think there's
spoil,
spoilers to
like-
it because it's just it's like the ending and like cool, like crazy shit happens, but it's not really a spoiler. Like you're expecting all weird shit to happen and weird shit happens,
does happen. Yes.
and it's just, well, what is the weird shit?
Yeah.
It's fucking weird shit.
Yeah.
Like I don't really know how you spoil it.
Yeah. I mean, I guess if I had to, describe the plot in a few sentences, basically, they do a Halloween special. They invite on a psychic who starts detecting a negative presence in the building, and some shit happens to him. And then he is essentially vomiting black shit all over people on the set, and then gets taken away in a hospital and dies off screen, which the cast of the show finds out about in between in one of their commercial breaks that's filmed in black and white. And then they all start to freak out a little bit. They bring out the skeptic, former magician guy. And then they bring out the author and the possessed little girl. And then shit just starts to go haywire. And I thought one of the cooler parts about this was the little like exposition dump they gave at the beginning of the movie, like talking about Jack Delroy.
With Michael Ironside?
Yeah, Michael Ironside was the narrator.
Never would have guessed that.
Yes, neither would I. And when I found out after the fact, I was like, holy shit, that was fucking Michael Ironside.
I thought he was dead.
No, he's still alive and kicking. I will say the only thing that I was slightly disappointed in about the entire movie was that little 5 to 8 minute exposition dump at the beginning about Jack Delroy's life and about his membership in
The Groves. Right? It's the Groves.
Yeah.
They touch on it briefly and they don't really get into it much more. I don't necessarily know that the movie would have been better if they had talked more about it, but it left me wanting more, like wanting to know more about what Jack did at this camp and why the demon, the devil, whatever it was that was communicating to him during this show was focused on him specifically.
So I
What
have
do you
a
guys think about
theory
that?
on this.
Okay.
And this was after some long thinking after we saw this movie. Now, this is big spoiler stuff here.
Yeah, we're in spoiler territory, so that's fine.
So obviously, at the beginning of the movie, you get that big exposition dump, which is great. I enjoyed that, but it touches on how his wife was very close with him, and they were thriving, trying to push to become the best show over. What was it? Johnny Carson was his
Yeah, I
competitor.
think I know what you're going to say here. Go ahead.
And so his wife ends up getting lung cancer out of nowhere. She's not a smoker, which that was kind of the thing. I'm like, okay, this is something kind of unexpected and like it doesn't make sense necessarily, which, you know, it happens, but it's not common. And so she dies of lung cancer. You know, you have that, you know, that happened. And then he comes back, he's trying to boost the show again. He has this big Halloween show, and any demon presence or communication targets him directly, and it kind of sounds like it's coming from his wife or someone that knows about his wife or someone who is involved with his wife or something. And it makes you wonder, with this whole thing with the Grove, did he sell his wife's soul to become the best late night talk show host? That's where my mind kind of went with that whole situation.
I had a feeling you were going to say that.
100% agree with everything you just said there.
Yep.
That's immediately what I thought too. I was like, he fucking gave up his wife to just be famous and beat Johnny Carson. What a piece
Which
of
is
shit.
so
He's actually a
fucking-
giant piece of shit. He's very likable, but he's a piece of shit.
Yeah.
When people were comparing this to Rosemary's Baby, I was like, and then I was like,
Interesting.
Okay. He sells
feel like-
his wife's soul to be the best actor. Okay.
And see,
For
like
his unborn child,
that
yeah.
is like, I feel like when people compare something to Rosemary's Baby, you know that there's going to be some sort of angle like that in the movie. So it's almost a spoiler to say that, because anyone that's seen Rosemary's Baby is going to know, like, all right, there's some sort of culty, satanic worship influence here, which there was, clearly. And I looked into this, by the way. So the name of the mysterious men's club situated in the Californian Redwoods was called The Grove, as Andrew mentioned. This was based on and inspired by the real-life Bohemian Grove located at 20601 Bohemian Avenue in Monte Rio, California.
Huge fucking, that's been around for like a lot of fucking
I didn't know about any of that.
Yeah, so it's kind of made me want to research that a little bit more. So if I wind up, drowned in a bowl of Fruit Loops in a couple of weeks, just know that the Illuminati and the Grove came.
Careful what you investigate. I just finished watching the Octopus Murders, the documentary on Netflix.
Yeah,
I did too.
Don't get going into that too much.
All right,
Yeah,
fair
be
enough.
careful.
Yeah,
I mean, I'll leave it alone. All I was going to do was just research what is
So-
readily out there already.
suffice it to say, if they decided, the people that made this movie, to make maybe in the vein of like an Unsolved Mysteries, like prequel to his time in the Groves, would you be on board with that?
Awesome. I would absolutely be into
Okay,
that.
I'd be
Yeah,
on board with that.
1,000%. 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I also have to say, there has been a little bit of controversy with this movie. I don't know if you guys have seen this or not, but apparently, I think after the writers' strike, this is one of the first movies to use AI.
Oh, but they barely used it.
They barely used it. So basically, I think people are all. I understand the genesis of why people get angry about this.
Jobs.
And I think ultimately AI is bad for the film industry. You need a human touch. I agree with that 1,000%. I stand with the, writers, directors, actors, 1,000%. Apparently all they used AI for were the cutaways and like the "will be right back" network messages and images.
Not even that.
So like those were generated by AI. And I'm
like
sorry.
the random like owl, like
Yeah,
Halloween. whatever, dude. That's
So
just
like I'm
imaging.
sorry.
Yeah.
That doesn't take away from my enjoyment of the movie.
No.
And I
It's
think
not
if-
like they
if
wrote
that-
any of the dialogue.
right.
It's not like they sent out email blasts
with AI. Yeah, I would say if your opinion of this movie is going to be soured based on that, I think you have a giant dump in your pants, and
I think
you
you
should
should just go
probably
drown in a river. To be honest,
Like, I
because
don't
no one
know.
cares about you.
I don't know. Well, I don't know if I'd go that far, but
No, I would
I think you pooped
drown
your
in a
pants.
river. Go
I think
poop
you
your pants
pooped
and
your
drown in a
pants.
river.
Pooped your pants.
Loaded diaper.
Guys, so this is secretly a worm movie. We didn't talk about that. I was waiting for spoilers to talk about that.
I was a little nervous to bring it up while we were watching the movie because they were like, no talking or phones, you're getting kicked out of the movie theater.
Which also, that was
cool. I was on board with that.
All in. I am all in on that for Alamo. Bravo to Alamo Drafthouse.
Which
you know what? Because if you're on your phone and you're talking during a movie, then go fuck yourself.
Which is why I was like, why is everyone laughing so loud during this movie and talking? And then I was like, it's not even them, it's the movie.
Yeah.
Because they make it seem like you feel like you're sitting in the audience.
Yeah.
Which is such a good, that's why you have to see this movie.
I feel like that's a great point, because that is one of the many reasons that this is a great theater movie, because it feels like, again, you're
part of the audience,
an extended part of the audience.
Dude, I thought like I was in a limousine and they were pushing in the sides, and then some guy with like a Super Bowl ring reached in and took all my ice and ruined my fucking experience.
Would you care to elaborate on your churro popcorn at all? Did you enjoy it?
It was delicious. A lot. It was 1,600 calories if you ate the whole bucket.
Yeah.
I don't even think I ate a quarter of that bucket.
Yeah.
And my tummy was hurting. It might have been from the gallon of Sprite that I was drinking with it. But
yeah.
I don't know.
But hey, I respected a lot the fact that you didn't drink alcohol. You were just like, nope, I wanted cherry icy. I don't have those. I wanted Sprite and popcorn.
There's nothing
and
to respect.
Food
when I go to a movie,
yeah,
it's to eat snacks and enjoy a movie. I don't want any, because then I feel like I'm surprised you guys didn't get up to go to the bathroom 18 times.
That's why I stopped drinking.
Beers. I was like, I would have been pissing my fucking. I would have been like, oh my god, I'm gonna pee. I was like, Sprite will keep me dehydrated, so I won't have to pee.
I think I had like 5 beers, but I was so invested in the movie that I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna push through this.
I would have pissed like 4 times if I had done that.
I was all right. I was in good shape.
I was
hot. Yeah. That was my issue. It was hot.
Very warm. Very warm.
It was nice that they had the seats so you could cool yourself down. Didn't do anything, but there was the option.
Yeah, there was the option. It was good. Very good. So I guess a little bit about this movie behind the scenes. So I mentioned before, the co-directors of this movie are brothers, Australian brothers, and their names are Cameron and Colin Carnes. Or Cairns.
Of course,
Carnes.
One of their names is Colin.
Yep. So basically, the Carnes brothers offered this role of Jack Delroy to David Dastmalchian after reading an article that David Dastmalchian wrote about for Fangoria about regional TV horror hosts. This is something that Dastmalchian talked about on the live stream Q&A after the fact, which I thought was really cool. And like, I feel like we glossed over that quickly because they did kind of go into some spoilers a little bit, but like, that was cool if that was added on. Like, that was definitely a feature that was, I think, only available for that one particular showing, and we were lucky enough to be there for it.
He's fucking nuts, too. That guy's he's a fucking weird dude.
Yeah, he is.
Nah, he's cool, though. I respect him.
But he was very eccentric, and I was like, this guy's fucking bizarre.
Yeah, most actors are eccentric.
Which it makes perfect sense for the roles that he plays. Like, he does them so well, and I'm like, oh, well, because you're a weirdo. And he's like, yeah, I'm that guy that you look at and you go, don't let him near my children. Like, I thought that was like, he was very...
He was very self-deprecating and also like very honest about, like, I feel like himself and his career, which I thought was refreshing. Like, he wasn't very full of himself. He was very down to earth.
Mm-hmm.
And the only thing I can say, like, not to besmirch another podcaster, the guy that hosted the thing, I was just not a fan of. The guy from the...
we don't even have to name it. Yeah,
podcast, I think it was. Yeah, I was not a fan of that. But anyway, so basically, I mean, good for him landing that interview. Hey, David Dastmalchian, if you're listening, come on the show anytime. We'll talk to you. We'll give you a more interesting interview than that guy did. Anyway, so so Fangoria, the Fangoria article that Dastmalchian wrote got him this role, or at least got him to be offered the role, and he accepted the part after he was sent a quote-unquote lookbook designed to resemble a 1970s TV guide along with the script, which I feel like was a very nice touch by the directors and the screenwriters there. Pretty cool stuff. Let's see. So it did premiere, as I mentioned, at South by Southwest back in 2023. And shortly after that, Stephen King has been one of the most vocal people screaming this movie's praise from the rooftops.
To be honest, though, doesn't Stephen King love everything?
No,
not really. I feel like he's very selective in what he does tweet out. Yeah, some of the stuff that he does show support for is admittedly not that great, but I feel like more often than not, I generally agree with a lot of stuff that he says. But
yeah, me too.
He called the film, quote, absolutely brilliant. I couldn't take my eyes off it. Your results may vary, as they say, but I urge you to watch it when you can. So Stephen King, I feel like anytime that he's going to endorse a film, it's going to put some additional oomph behind the film, get some more eyes on it, make people excited about it. So that definitely piqued my interest before this movie came out. And yeah, the last thing that I found here, because it's again, this is a new movie. I wasn't able to find budgetary stuff, but some of the facts were interesting. I feel like this is a secret love letter, as most possession movies are, to The Exorcist. And the little girl, the possessed little girl, whose name I already forget, and I apologize. Lily. Lily refers to the demon that is inside her as Mr. Wriggles, which the directors called a quote-unquote neat nod to The Exorcist's Captain Howdy. Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, if you're going to make a movie about possession, how do you not give a little nod to The Exorcist at some point?
So what's the nod?
Basically, go ahead, Matt.
I was going to say the one that I noticed, at least when we were watching, was when they do the footage of like where she came from. They showed like, they're like, oh, like this is the disturbing footage from the house she lived in, and it was like something very I forget exactly what it was, but it's like something very interesting is happening to a little girl on this house, on this road. Like they had like a very similar build up to the way the trailer was spoken about for The Exorcist.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I noticed that too. And I feel like the way that because the teaser trailer was all over TikTok for a while. And TikTok, obviously, like, I'm not going to get into it here, but it's, it's good for certain things, bad for certain things. The TikTok trailer for this movie was phenomenal. It kind of had like the voiceover in the style of like Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It kind of definitely gave off that like 70s horror vibe.
It always had her
good
face when it changes.
Yeah, and it was very quick.
Yeah.
It didn't show too much, and it piqued your interest enough that you were like, oh, wow, okay, I'm into this. I mean, I was into the movie already, but like when I did see stuff on TikTok, it's not like I immediately swiped up, because I do watch more TikTok than I'd like to admit, as do, I would say, most people. Andrew, I know you do too. Matt, are you a TikTok guy? Yay? Nay?
No,
I don't have TikTok, but I
good for you.
do this. I still watch reels on like Instagram.
Oh yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah. It's the same thing. Yeah. So I feel like we got away from this real quick, but yeah. So Secret Worm movie. Ron, Jack's right-hand man. What's the skeptic's name? The former magician turned skeptic.
I don't know what his name is.
I forget. I looked it up and I said it earlier, but I immediately forgot. But he hypnotizes Ron on the show.
And the entire audience.
Apparently, because they see worm. He says he's afraid of worms, and worms all of a sudden start bursting out of his chest, and a gigantic worm animatronic puppet bursts out of his face. I was like, yeah.
I was like, oh, Mike has a boner.
Oh, yeah. I had a Bissell in one hand, and I was raising my fist in the other hand.
Yes. A Bissell in one hand and a boner in my
big old schmagoogle.
But that was some of the best practical effects that you could have given me. Like, that was like, this is what I'm here for.
Yeah.
This is what I want.
That was a really cool effect to basically show that the entire audience had been hypnotized when they ran the tape back. That was a really cool thing that I wasn't expecting.
But then they did the other
opposite.
thing, and they reversed and they played the tape back again, and they showed, oh shit, this is fucking happening.
Yeah, for sure.
And then like, let's not forget the end of this.
I would say let's talk about the ending, because obviously, some shit happens at the end where, it's unclear what's going on, and then all of a sudden it feels like you're inside Jack's mind and seeing what he's seeing. And then it cuts back to real life at the end, and it shows that Jack has in fact stabbed and murdered Lily, the little girl, live on TV, which
possibly killed everybody else.
Yeah, you don't actually know if this was just him losing his goddamn mind.
Yeah,
or not,
right?
Because if he did say he did murder her because she was possessed. Well, the demon still exists, and now the demon's just somewhere else. So where's the demon?
Him?
It must be in him now, because that's what caused him to murder her.
Yeah.
Or he did just murder everyone because he lost his mind because his show was going under, and he's like,
yeah,
no one's watching the show, so let's go out with a bang.
Yeah.
I mean, and the Groves, that was like his humiliation, fucking like, you got to kill everybody. He was pulling his John Cena where he just showed up naked to the fucking Oscars with his dick hanging out.
What's the line that he says at the end too? Like, dreamer
awake,
dreamer wake up, or dreamer dream awake, or I forget exactly.
Something like that. Which his explanation of that in the Q&A I found very interesting and very cool. about how it's like you go through these situations in life where you're like, it's so traumatic that you're like, you like factory reset, and you're like,
Yeah,
wait,
you're like-
I need to wake up. I need to wake up. Like, and you can't. And that's his reaction to him coming to after he stabbed the girl in the chest. It's like, holy fuck, dude. Like that I wish I had that info of like what he meant prior. I think my rewatch is gonna really send a shiver down my spine.
I can't wait to watch this movie again.
Same.
Yeah.
Yeah. I feel like it's going to be, upon second watch, there's going to be a lot that you pick up on that you
That's
didn't know.
kind of why I wanted to hold off on doing this episode, was because I wanted to have a second watch. But I also think that it's nice to talk about it raw and get this out there. I did thoroughly enjoy everything I saw. I had a factory reset the other night. I was in a dream, like I know I was in a dream, and I was trying to wake myself up in the dream because I knew there was some fucked up shit happening. And it took like a solid 20 seconds to actually get myself to wake up. And it was very fucking frightening when it happened. So
Do you
I
sleep
feel
on
it.
your back?
No, I sleep on my stomach.
No, that's weird. Usually you lucid dream better on your back.
Yeah, it was a definite lucid dream because I was wide awake in the dream, and like, so I was in a room with like 6 other people, and there was definitely a demon in that room sitting in one of the chairs, and then all of a sudden everybody in the room disappeared except for the demon in the chair. And as soon as that happened, I was like, time to get up, time to wake up, and I couldn't wake my fucking self up, and I was like having a mild panic attack. I woke up, and it was like middle of the night. And I stayed up for like 2 hours watching Seinfeld because I was like, I don't feel comfortable. I am
The
not
Sports
going
Center.
back to sleep.
I can't find that saying for the life of me, but it's like dream awake, or dreamer wake up, or something like that they say at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a prominent phrase, a prominent hypnotist phrase. Yeah, but I mean, I love me a bleak ending. It's a bleak ending.
Very bleak,
Yeah.
and it's so well done. Like that, it's like a fever dream at the end, and I love every second of it. Like it's so good. That to me is the best part of the movie. That final sequence of him in his own mind or whatever the fuck's going on. Just that catapulted this movie into a whole different level of just
And you know what? I think the more I think about it and what you said, Matt, like a lot of the stuff that's clearly in his mind. Well, that, but also like a lot of the stuff that he's clearly experiencing in his own mind before he comes back to reality revolves around his wife.
Mm-hmm.
And I think he just clearly sold her soul to the devil.
You know what I mean? Like it's like the callbacks.
And he's come to collect.
But I remember when we were leaving the theater, I was like, hey, this reminds me of The Outwaters, where it's a found footage movie and you're going through the lens of a camera, but you're still given the perspective, like you're giving that like eye like of the guy that's telling the story somehow from his mind. Like you get that trip into his like weird dream state, which I found interesting. But I think that's all just that really circles back to his like whole thing about him selling her soul, where she's in the hospital bed, like, you know, going through the chemotherapy and this, that, and the other thing, and just having all of that be there. And then he wakes up and it's just like he's just stabbed this little girl in the chest on fucking live television. It's like, Jesus Christ, dude. Like, holy fuck.
Yeah. Wild shit. Guys, I know I personally haven't seen too many 2024 releases this year.
No, what have we had so far?
I don't think we've covered any other 2024 movies in the show so far. I think it's the first one that we've covered. I can tell you that the highest grossing 2024 horror movie of the year is Blumhouse's Night Swim.
I heard that's terrible.
I've heard the same thing.
Also, I'm never actually going to watch that movie, so that's fine.
I think it's coming to Netflix. I'll probably watch it. It's got Wyatt Russell in it.
Imagine not going to watch that either.
Made $53 million. I'll probably watch. I'll watch those movies when they come to streaming and without high expectations. I mean, I might. Highest grossing movie of the year, by the way, I guess. Andrew, you can see, so don't cheat.
Dune?
Yeah, Dune Part 2. $509 million worldwide. Followed by, I'm surprised, number 2, Kung Fu Panda 4.
I'm not surprised. I love Kung Fu Panda.
I didn't even know there was a Kung Fu Panda 4.
Yeah.
Anything Jack Black? Have you seen Jack Black's cover of Hit Me Baby One More Time?
No.
It's very good.
I'm sure it is. The only other, so Imaginary is made 24, almost 25 million at this point. I think those are the only two huge theatrically
Yeah.
released horror movie. I mean, admittedly, like I'm sure there's a ton of stuff on Tubi and Shudder that I haven't seen. Matt, was you put one on the watch list a couple of weeks ago that was 2024. It was
History of Evil.
History of Evil. That was 2024.
Yeah, it wasn't that great. It like had it didn't have its legs. Like it had a cool idea, and it just bored me to hell.
So clearly, you think that this movie is better than that.
Yeah. The only other one I watched was that Destroy All Neighbors, and
Oh yeah.
that's a lot of fun. It's if you just go into it knowing that it's going to be like totally fucking whacked out. It's worth a watch. It's a very much a horror comedy, but that's as of right now, that's the what do you call it? The runner up.
Runner up. Okay, so Late Night with the Devil sits at I think all three of our number ones so far, for lack of not seeing much else.
Just Destroy All Neighbors, the one where the guy's like a band. And
Yeah, he's like a progressive rocker. Like
I saw that.
You did see it? Did you like it?
I did. It was all right. It didn't really like. I forgot that I had watched it. It
It's
was so
goofy as
fucking
hell.
weird. It was just very like. It just wasn't like I was like, all right, this is just
Yeah,
fine
no, for
for
sure.
what it
It's
is.
over
It was-
the top, but
the weird neighbor guy was sick. Like when he came into the apartment, he's like, "Rah!" The guy was
It was
fucking- he's
funny,
why didn't you just tell me to be quiet? And like, oh my
as
god!
I was watching it, I was like, I'm gonna end up turning this off, and I just couldn't. I couldn't. I was like, it kept me entertained. So that's why I was like, all right, this is actually a pretty solid movie.
Yeah, it wasn't bad. It wasn't fantastic. It was just
Super gory.
it was entertaining.
Yeah,
I still have to check that one out. So, yeah, I
You
think it's
probably
front runner
would
in the
like it.
clubhouse for us all right now. But
Mike,
again,
you would like that.
I would check it
I
out.
can-
I'll
I can
check it out.
definitely
Yeah,
think you'd vibe
yeah.
with that
I
movie.
still want to check. I want to check out History of Evil too. So I admittedly have been slacking on this year's new horror movie releases, but I feel like the big releases, this has to be obviously the front runner of the clubhouse for all of us. So yeah, cool. Guys, do we have anything further on Late Night with the Devil? Do we have anything else to say about this movie? I don't know why I'm talking like Christopher Walken.
I don't know. It's almost like when Dune decided to add Christopher Walken into the movie, and I was like, why is he in this movie?
Did
How
they
I feel
really?
about you doing that. Yeah, he was like.
I've heard a
the
lot of people
Emperor.
say that was
He was
the
like
worst
the Emperor.
part.
I was like,
yeah.
what the fuck is he doing in this?
Guys,
Like it doesn't belong.
we're in
Why?
space and the
I
sand.
am the Emperor. You're gonna
worms.
battle my this
so
guy
dry.
here. You have to kill him.
House
I was like,
Harkonnen.
well, why is he here? And I was like, what the fuck is he doing in this movie?
That's
I can
wicked
picture
funny.
you.
I didn't know
I
that.
can picture you like rage.
I was
fucking your
midway.
Dune
I was
popcorn bucket
midway
being
through
pissed off.
fucking and almost coming inside my Dune popcorn bucket, and then Christopher Walken showed up, and I immediately just blew the biggest load all over the back of the movie theater.
Just
Out of control.
clarified butter popcorn
Out of control.
everywhere. Yeah. All right. For real though. Any
Clarified
parting
semen.
any parting thoughts on Late Night with the Devil, guys, or have we kind of buttered our biscuit already?
I do want to say if you're able, and like Mike, you brought up a good point earlier because you said that there's all these people that fucking bitch and moan that there's no original horror movies, and then all they're gonna do is fucking sit at home and jerk off to fucking the same movies they watch all the time. It's like go see this. Go see this in theaters. Please go see this in theaters because this is if we can as a horror community show that we're able to go and see these movies and we're gonna make the money, we're gonna get more of these. And it's already happening. We're in the middle of it. It's been happening for the last few years. We're getting a lot of these movies in theaters. We're seeing them. It's like, dude, we live in a world where Terrifier 2 was just in fucking theaters.
With a sequel.
Keep it up.
Let's
With
not
a
forget
sequel
about,
coming.
let's not forget about Pearl and X.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, like, you know what I mean? Like Winnie the Pooh, Blood and Honey. Like,
I mean, that
those are
movie.
theaters.
But that movie, we're showing the world what we want. We want original horror movies
Mhm.
that have fucking substance, not this stupid imaginary bullshit. And Freddy got fingered or whatever it is. 5 Nights at Freddy got fingered. Nobody fucking is interested in this shit fucking movies.
Daddy, do you want some sausage? Daddy, do you want
Freddy got
Daddy,
fingered
you
is
can
funny,
get some
but
Freddie got
That's
fingered
what
is
I'm
funny,
saying.
but that's besides the point. Matt,
I
keep
do
going.
I
Sorry.
do
You are
urge that
correct.
if you're able to go see this movie in theaters, for sure do it. Otherwise, watch the hell out of it on Shudder and write good reviews about it. But if you can get out there, this is very much a fun movie to watch and watch it in theaters. It's loud, it's fucking in your face. It's very highly recommended. So go check it out.
I think I got mad on Rotten Tomatoes because like 2 people had like negative reviews, and I was like, "Who the fuck is this person?"
So that'd be a new development for me because I
Maybe-
thought I did
unless
see
this
that
was
it was
some
at
different-
100%.
Maybe this was somebody
100%.
else.
Yeah, you can only go yes or no, right?
Yeah. So basically, yeah, that's the thing that people don't realize about Rotten Tomatoes, right? It's binary. Would you see this movie or would you recommend this movie? Yes or no. Not like
Well, no, it's at 98%, and yeah, there's 2.
so. There you go. So
Oh, so
people,
okay.
some
Fucking
people didn't
on
like it.
here
Yeah.
with just this guy. I'm not gonna get.
Well, we don't have to read all the reviews, but yeah, I mean, I agree with Matt. You got to see this movie in theaters. You should. If you're a horror fan, it'll be a blast. You'll absolutely love it. And I just think it's a lot of fun, and you should definitely check it out. Andrew,
Yeah.
parting thoughts, parting shots.
If you're gonna go see a horror movie this spring, it should be this movie. And if you pick something else and it's a bad movie experience and you didn't like it, well
Fuck
then
you.
too fucking bad. You should have watched.
Unless
this
it was
movie. We told you what movie to
immaculate.
see. Don't listen
You
to
saw
what
Sydney
fucking
Sweeney's
Bumhouse
big
tells you to go see. Watch this movie.
I would never fault anyone for going to see the goddess that is Sydney Sweeney.
She doesn't even show her tits though, so why would you see that?
How do you know? Did you see it?
I mean, I've
I've heard.
Google
I've heard the opposite is true.
Oh, so she does.
I've heard that she does get, in fact, nude for this movie, but I don't think
Oh,
in a good way. I think it's like a horror movie way. That's bad.
Yeah, it's
I
probably
thought
not
she-
enjoyable.
I thought it was just old people getting nude.
Old nuns,
Yeah, just
nun
old nuns.
exploitation. Yeah.
Like if you
Not
want
Ari
to nut to a
Aster
nun,
movie.
that's what you're gonna have to nut to.
Speaking of
Anyway.
speaking of crazy old ladies, that'll be a fun topic to talk about next week. Yep.
Do we want to tease
Butcher
that?
Baker, butthole taker.
Butcher
Movie's
Baker
great.
Nightmare Maker coming next week because we can actually, for once, give you a little bit of a tidbit about what's coming next week. And that'll be Butcher Baker Nightmare Maker, which we were going to talk about tonight. We pivoted at the last second to talk about Late Night with the Devil with people potentially seeing this movie when it comes out. So anyway, gentlemen, anything further? Or are we about done?
I think we're all
right, I
done.
think we're good. All right. So, yeah, I guess, hey, go see Late Night with the Devil. You should not be disappointed. If you are
I
disappointed,
might join you with this movie again.
I don't really know that I want to be friends with you if you didn't like this movie. I don't know if we can be friends. But anyway, if you didn't like this movie, I still want you to listen to this podcast. And, hey, difference of opinion is sometimes good. But, hey, thanks for joining us on this journey. If you've made it the whole way through on America's Hometown Horror Podcast, we certainly appreciate you checking in with us. Matthew?
I also want to say May 2nd, if you're in the Plymouth, Massachusetts area, we do have a halfway to Halloween horror trivia
Great call.
by yours truly at the
think
Mayflower Brewing Company in Plymouth.
I was going to say, I thought we mentioned that on the Zodiac episode, but if we didn't, that is a
You should
great
mention it
call.
on every
On it.
episode.
We should. We certainly should, and that's my bad. Thank you, Matt, for picking up on that. Yeah, so Thursday, May 2nd, Mayflower Brewing Company, Plymouth, Massachusetts. You can come meet me, Matt, and Andrew. We'll be hosting Halfway to Halloween horror trivia with some exclusive announcements, about the Hometown Haunts and Hops Horror Convention 2024.
Alms and alms.
What I can tell you without spoiling anything is that we will be announcing our headlining guest for 2024, and I will not reveal anything more than that. I will not.
It's not me. I'm not.
It's not Andrew. It's not Matt. It's not me. It's not Kat. It's somebody, in fact, quite more famous than all of us combined. And I think people are going to really like it. So, yeah, come visit us at Mayflower
want an
Brewing
autograph.
Company. Yep, I certainly will as well. So, yeah, I think it's going to wrap it up for another episode of America's Hometown Horror. Thanks so much for checking in with us. We appreciate it. Matt, Andrew, say good evening to your audience.
Good
And that's
evening.
been the Late Night with America's Hometown Horror Podcast.
Thanks for checking
I
in
like
to
what
another
you did
episode of
there.
Late Night with Mike, Andrew, and Matt. Stay tuned for a word from our sponsor. Or not really.
Sounds how you normally sound.
Fuck you. All right. Bye. Hey everyone, it's Mike from America's Hometown Horror, and I want to say thanks again for listening to another episode of our show. If you're interested in more local Plymouth podcasts, I'd highly recommend you check out the shows from our friends over on the Inebriart Podcast Network. In addition to America's Hometown Horror, you can find shows from Inebriart, The Old Colony Cast, Bar Talk, Theme Park Legends, and Retro Redoctopus, so head on over and give them a listen.